Hello there everybody, this is Tigitar here, and welcome back to another episode of Tigaria. For the first time in Piston Cup history, I'm serious, the last episode of Tigaria, I just checked, was uploaded on April 28th, so it's basically been a few ice ages. But I have actually finally been doing a little bit of work here. So the whole central part is still kind of the same as it's stood for a while now, but I've been working a little bit on the tree farm section. Well, not tree farm, but the tall tree display section on the left here. Added some white stone brick supports underneath. I got some steampunk lamps, or actually chandeliers, for little propelling rocket type things. Some green glowing gems and stuff in the walls as well. So it's kind of just a general structure to look like it's supporting these trees is all. Next door to it here is going to be a little like informational building about trees or something like that. I don't exactly know what it's going to detail, but I want it to have something to do with trees. And so I'm actually trying to grow 2 small trees in here to have inside the building. The smallest tree that I've seen grow is actually 5 tall. This one on the left is 6, but it might still do. There's actually 2 trees over on the right-hand side of the base that are only 5 blocks tall. So ideally, we could get 2 of those, and that could be interesting. But anyway, mostly what I've been working on is the pathway that circumnavigates the outside of the whole base. So the stone framework is now completely wrapped around with vines, and I added lots of leaves around it. The last episode that we had showed most of the vines themselves in place. Actually, not even most of them. I think I was finishing up the main supporting tree trunks to support the whole structure. So there are 4 supporting trunks. One here where I'm at, and then another one on the right, and then 2 on the left. So all those are now done. The wood is all textured, and then leaves are added everywhere around. And I've also added 4 main vine sections that reach up to grab the castle in the center. And so the castle is now supported and connected with the whole base itself. Now as it becomes daytime and it's a little bit lighter, you might be able to see it better here. But I did want to start at nighttime here so that you could see how the glowing really affects the visualization. But we can walk around the whole perimeter real quick here just so that you can see the kind of the different platforms that we have set up here. So this is so that there's easy access to basically explore the whole build. And from here, of course, there's going to be more branches reaching outwards of the build. Not necessarily tree branches, but building branches to go to different sections that will display different items or tools or weapons or whatever. So it's just basically a walkway that goes around the whole thing. I use the same block palette as we have in the central castle, just pearlstone, ebonstone, and crimstone bricks, all painted white. And then to support the little platforms, I have mostly it's just white painted mahogany fences, and then also white painted fancy gray wallpaper. A couple of the pillars, like this one right here, is a little bit special because the platform isn't wide enough to really use a 3-block wide support beam. I just did a fancy gray wall paper in the background, and then it's a gray painted, actually no, I think it's white painted boreal beam here to give it that accent stripe so that it kind of fits in with the other pillars that we have. So that's pretty neat. On the portions where I couldn't do platform stairs going downward, I added spiral staircases using marble platforms that are all painted white. And they of course wrap around a white painted mahogany fence piece to be the pole. And then last thing that I did was actually add in these white marble lamps. Now the lamps are painted white, but only on the bottom 2 blocks, so that the little flame on top still has the yellowish color instead of being kind of whited out if you paint it white. I think that's most of the updates. Actually, I don't think I've shown off the bottom center of the new platforms. Down on the bottom side, the platform gets on the outside of the oval, and then there are 2 more spiral staircases in the center here that will allow access outside of the base between the central bottom crystal thing and the 2 inner support trunks. So basically with the platforms, we have access outside of the oval all along the entire top sides. Those were pretty simple, but the bottom sides, we have these supporting trunks to work around. So the platform kind of goes out between the outside trunk and the left and right crystals. So there's a little pathway there to grant access for a little pathway to exit the base here. And then the other exit is found below the outermost support trunk that will allow access outside of the base all over this section before coming back inside the base to have a sort of central display section. Also, during windy days, all the leaf blocks, the living leaves that I've placed, drop so many leaves, and it actually looks really, really cool. They're pretty awesome. One of my favorite parts of the whole thing so far. So we have 5 different platforms here in the center, and what I'm thinking of doing for here is maybe making some sort of marble sculpture or some sort of sculpture display, and maybe represent each of the 4 celestial elements here. And then in the center we could have some sort of built up monolith out of luminite or something like that. And so that will kind of tie the main end game materials in, and hopefully that can look kind of cool. But if not that, there might be some other options here as well. So that's basically most of the new stuff, I believe. Future plans, next thing I'm going to work on is this little house section here. And then I think, like I mentioned, those sculptures down in the bottom center on these platforms, those will be coming up next, I believe. And then up at the top here, I think we need something to fill in this airspace above the castle. And so maybe we could come up with a grand chandelier or something that hangs from this platform in the middle here. And that will provide light and fill this empty space in here. I think that could look really cool. After those are done, this whole left-hand void will need to be filled in. And I'm thinking of largely mirroring these 2 platforms here, only instead of tall trees, I will just have a larger structure building. And I think what I'm going to try to do is have information about Tigaria, the build itself, and the whole world, and sort of put a timeline for how the building has gone, how the construction went, what parts I built when, and stuff like that. So I think that could be really cool to have like a welcome center and a bunch of informational stuff in a fancy building that fills this space here. And that is kind of the main idea that I have for the whole central structure here. Once we can complete those things, I think we'll be good to move outwards and start building the individual branches. So that's where the base stands right now. I hopefully will be more consistent in working on it coming up here. Unfortunately, it's been so long since I actually got significant work done on it, but I'm glad to say that it's been moving along again recently. The song of the episode for today for Tigaria is Life in an Instant by Abney Park. Check that one out. The link is down below. If you're interested in the Discord server, check out the link down below as well. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the little update here, and I hope you guys have an outstanding rest of your day. Thank you all so much for watching.